got a lot to cook tonight. I don't know how long you guys are planning on staying on, but we've got a lot to make. All right. Yeah, so we are making, I had to write all my stuff down that I wanted to make sure that I did. So we're going to be starting a lot of this stuff. We're not going to be able to finish all of it, obviously, because we're not celebrating until Thursday. But I'm going to show you guys what I do ahead of time, and then also talk about the steps after this so you guys can finish it tomorrow or Thursday for your family. So we're going to be covering homemade stuffing. We're going to be talking about how I usually make my turkey. I'm going to be making a soaked pie crust and giving you guys all the ingredients for that. We're going to be starting my soaked dinner rolls. Don't worry, I'll be going over that recipe as well, so you can write that down. We're going to make green bean casserole. My mom is actually making the mashed potatoes this year, so I'll let you guys know what we usually put in them. They're like loaded mashed potatoes, super good. I'm going to be making ice cream, which I'm probably going to start first because I already started it right here. If we have time, we will be making grain-free biscuits. I will not be enjoying the sourdough or the soaked rolls this year, so it'd be kind of nice for me to have my grain-free biscuits. So anyway, if we get around to that, we'll get that, and then if we still have time and I still have energy, we're going to make pumpkin pie bars, even though I wasn't supposed to bring them to my mom. So that is our agenda for tonight. We'll see how far we get, okay? All right. So, I'm going to be referencing my cookbook a ton tonight, you guys. That's like, pretty much a no-brainer, but even like Thanksgiving stuffing, all of those recipes are all in here. So, I've started using my own cookbook, and I don't want to brag, but I'm like completely blown away at how nice this turned out. It's just very, very nice to use. So, you'll see me referencing that tonight through all of the recipes. All right, I'm going to angle the camera down. Hey, Carl. We're going to get started on the ice cream. So I already measured out in my blender. This is, hang on, got to find the recipe. 3.5 cups of heavy cream, 2 cups of whole milk. I'm going to add just shy of 3/4 cup of honey. You sure could go down on that if you wanted to like 1/2 cup. I'm just going to leave it at 3/4 cup because we're serving this ice cream to people who typically eat store-bought. So I want it to be yummy for their taste buds. Okay, so 3/4 cup of honey. Then we've got 1 tablespoon of vanilla. If I can find, I'm going to have to guess. Tablespoons into the sink. All right, ready? 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract. I buy mine from Azure Standard. It's pretty good stuff. And 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Where did the salt go? I don't want to use, oh, there it is right there. Hello, right behind there. 1/8 teaspoon is barely anything of salt. And you obviously want healthy salt. That's what we're cooking with, is healthy salt. I'm going to turn the blender on so it's going to get noisy just for a minute here. I'm also going to leave you while the blender is on to go get my canister for my ice cream maker. So my mom actually lent me her ice cream maker, but it's one of the ones you have to go to the store and buy ice, and I didn't feel like driving 20 minutes to buy ice, so we're going to use ours instead. It's been in the freezer a little while there, and I don't think all of this is going to fit in ours, and that's okay. Because I can always make a second batch tomorrow. Okay, so I'm just going to put the little mixer in. I'm going to move it over to the machine, which is inside my pantry intentionally because they whine worse than children. So, all right, I'm going to go load this up. Ice cream is going. We can check that off the list. I'm just going to put the rest of this into the refrigerator because I'm going to do a second batch tomorrow. All right. If you guys hear popping, it's because the cookbooks came with bubble wrap and it's like all over my house. Yeah. That's why it's popping at my house. All right. I'm gonna put my base to my blender away. We're gonna keep on going here. Okay. My helper hasn't arrived yet. We're gonna go over and do the stuffing prep next. So I'm gonna take you over here. So hang on. All right. So this is fresh homemade bread. I made it this morning. And when you're going to make stuffing, you want bread that's been dried out. So if I was just serving like maybe my family, well, probably less than my family, like 4 to 5 people, you're going to want 1 pound of homemade bread. Because I'm going to be serving 9 people, I'm going to go with 2 pounds of homemade bread, which makes a lot, but like I said, there's a lot of people eating. So this is just a homemade sourdough bread. You could do a soaked one or a spotted bread, whatever you got on hand. If you're doing this day of Thanksgiving, you can totally dry your bread out in your oven. But because I have a couple of days, I actually like to just dry it out at room temperature. But if you're short on time, you sure could roast it in the oven for a couple hours to try and dry out the bread at like 250 degrees. But I'm just going to chop the bread up into little chunks, just like little things. And I'm actually just going to use my dehydrator sheets. I'm not going to use the dehydrator base. I'm just going to use the dehydrator sheets to allow air to get to all these little cute little squares and dry them out good. So this is the first step. Either you take your bread and you dehydrate in your oven at 250 degrees until they're crispy and dry, or you lay them out to dry on like either a baking sheet, or in my case I'm going to use my sheets for my dehydrator. And then the next step would be it calls for onions and celery, which I can read you guys sorry, I'm trying to read and cut at the same time without cutting off my fingers. I can read you guys the recipe. Total recipe is this. I'll read it slow so you guys can write it if you'd like for Thanksgiving stuffing. So while I'm cutting, I'm going to read the directions. So first ingredient is 1 cup of butter. Oh, you know what else I should say? I've also used grain-free bread to make this. So there's actually like a grain-free stuffing. If any of you guys are interested in that and you're on here live, comment down below and I can get out that recipe for grain-free bread. I actually don't have that recipe in my cookbook because it's not mine. But if you are interested in a grain-free bread for Thanksgiving, comment down below on the live and I can go over it. Okay, so it calls for 1 cup of butter. And then, like I said, 1 pound of homemade bread of your choice. If you want to make a gluten-free bread, that's fine, you just need 1 pound. Or a grain-free bread, you just need 1 pound. 1 large yellow onion. 2 cups of celery that's been diced. Half of a cup of dried parsley. Eight teaspoons of dried sage. 2 tablespoons of dried rosemary. And if you had like fresh stuff, you sure could use fresh, but you're going to have to change the amount you're using. And then 1.5 tablespoons of dry thyme. If you're just jumping on, we're just starting the turkey. We're just starting the stuffing, guys. You haven't missed very much. I'm going to finish reading the recipe to you. 1 teaspoon of healthy salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, 2.5 cups of chicken broth, and 2 large eggs. So pretty much you take your bread of choice. Like I said, you could use grain-free bread, you could use gluten-free bread, sourdough, sprouted bread, all those things all work. You just need bread of some sort. Okay. Whoa. There's 1 sheet that's full. Just dicing them up into little chunks. And how little you dice them will depend on how big of bites you want your stuffing to be. So if you want it like the box kind, you're probably going to want to dice it a little smaller than when I'm dicing it. I like my stuffing to have enough large chunks where it's not like I'm eating mush. I don't want baby food box stuffing. I was raised on baby food box stuffing. And it's just mushy. Nobody wants that. Come on now. So we have a little bit of consistency. Okay, so all we're doing is drying this out. And like I said, if you're in a rush, it's last minute, you're doing it on Thanksgiving Day, you sure can. Chop up the bread, put it in the oven at 250 degrees on a baking sheet, and bake it for well over an hour until it's nice and dry and crispy. The bread has to be dry because you end up melting the butter and sauteing onion and celery together, and then adding the chicken broth and the eggs, and you coat your dried bread. And so the bread needs to be dry so it can absorb all of the seasonings and everything else that you mix in there with it. So you just coat it in that mixture of 2.5 cups of chicken broth, 2 large eggs, all the seasonings, and then, like I said, I usually saute the celery and the onion in some of the butter and then mix it all together and coat it. But that will be something that I do probably the morning of Thanksgiving. I just need to dry out this bread ahead of time so it's nice and crunchy and it's ready to go, because the other steps don't take very long. And it's delicious. It really smells like your house. So last year I made the stuffing in the morning, and we weren't supposed to be at my mom's house until the evening, and our house smelled so good that I called her and said, "Is anyone can come earlier?" Smells way too good. All right. Almost done, guys. Last piece. And this loaf, just for reference, is the sourdough sandwich loaf that is in my cookbook. Okay. It's an extra crunchy piece there. That'll dry out nice and quick. All right. All right. And like I said, this is just going to sit on the counter and until tomorrow night probably. And then I'll probably just move it to a Ziploc. And I'm not turning on a dehydrator or anything. It's just sitting at room air here. And so it's going to dry out until tomorrow night. Then I'll move it to a Ziploc bag. And then, like I said, on Thanksgiving morning, I will finish making the stuffing. All right, stuffing. I can mark this. Hang on. Our dog is barking at our farm cats. He is officially waged war, even though they live here, and he's totally outnumbered. So, story. I'm going to go take a peek on the ice cream. We're going to talk about turkey. It's starting to turn into ice cream. Hey, Diana. All right, guys. So, let's talk about the turkey. So as I said in my last video, this is not a approved method. If you read about it on the internet, they're going to scare you and tell you that you're going to poison yourself. But let me tell you, this is how I've been making our turkey for the last 12 years, and I'm still here. So, what we usually do is thaw out the turkey ahead of time, just like you normally do with any other turkey. And then there are two ways to do it. Either one, you can slow roast inside your oven. The tricky part about the oven is that you either have to have one of those roasting pans with a lid, or you have to be okay with using aluminum foil. I'm not okay with using aluminum foil, and I don't have a lid to go on my roaster. So I actually use a plug-in electric roaster to do my turkey. So what I will do is season it up. Typically when I season my turkey, I think I even have that in here, maybe. Maybe I do? Do I have turkey in here? Maybe. Let me look. I can't remember what I put in my own cookbook, you guys. Like, did I put that in here or did I not? Let me see if I did. I kind of have it memorized, but usually I just take a bunch of garlic and I mince it real small. And I take some butter and I go underneath the skin around the breast area of the turkey, and I completely stuff that with butter and raw garlic, and then season it with some thyme and poultry seasoning type seasonings on the top. Let me see if I have that. Anyway, so if you're going to do it into the oven, you're going to load it into your oven, put a lid on. Do you put the lid on first? No, you don't put the lid on. Put it inside the oven with no lid. After it's been preheated to, hang on, 400 degrees. You put it in there with no lid. Roast it at 400 degrees for 30 minutes, okay? And then you go ahead and you baste the turkey. So take some of the juices that cooked off when you did that and baste it. And then you're going to go ahead and put the lid on, and you're going to reduce your oven down to 250 degrees and bake it for 8 hours. The little poppy-uppy thing, if you buy a store-bought one, will pop up and let you know it's cooked all the way through. It won't be a problem. The reason why you bake it at 400 degrees for 30 minutes in the beginning is to kill any sort of bacteria that's on the outside of your turkey. It's just a safety precaution. That's why I do it every single year. Turns out totally delicious. If you're open to having a turkey breast that completely falls apart, flip the turkey upside down and roast it with the breasts down inside the juices. That's totally awesome as well. So the way I do it though with my turkey roaster, same process. Turkey roaster, turn to 400 degrees, load the turkey in there, and then season it all up. And then once the light shuts off on the front of my roaster telling me it's 400 degrees, we go ahead and start a timer for the 30 minutes. Then we turn it down to 250 degrees, walk away, and come back the next day, 8-ish hours later, turn the heat down just to keep it warm, and it's ready to serve whenever we're ready to eat, which is awesome. And it's totally moist. So that's how I do my turkey. I'm going to check comments because I haven't checked yet. Okay, we're good. All right, so next thing we're going to talk about is soaked pie crust. We're going to do that because it's right over here on the counter. Oh, Bree's going to come help. This will be fun. All right. I got the ice cream going. I got the stuffing all chopped. All right. I've got a drill right here. I'm not really sure why, but I have a drill. Oh my goodness. All right. I started a soaked pie crust mixture early this morning. So it's been soaking for almost 12 hours, guys. If you can go 12 hours, that's really great. We're a little bit shy of 12 hours by about an hour. So the ingredients to make a soaked pie crust, I'm going to read them to you, and this is for fresh ground flour. So if you're not using fresh ground flour, you're going to want to reduce, I think it's reduce, hang on, let me look at my notes. I figured it out in the cookbook. And I wrote it down in the notes so that people could figure it out if they're not going to use fresh ground flour. Okay, if using store-bought flour, you'll most likely have to increase the amount of flour in recipes from the breads and crust section. Increase the amount will vary depending on the type of flour, but should be approximately 2.5 tablespoons per cup. So this calls for 3.5 cups of fresh ground flour, or if you're using store-bought flour, that's going to be, how many is that? 3.5 cups of flour plus, let's see, 2, 5, 6, 7.5 tablespoons of flour. Okay? Hey, Jim. So again, for store-bought flour, it's 3.5 cups of flour plus 7. Did I say 7.5?
I think so.
7.5 tablespoons more of flour. It's just a little bit different. The texture of store-bought flour and fresh ground flour is different, so you have to adjust accordingly, okay? And that is covered in the back of the cookbook, in the notes section. Okay, so 3.5 cups of flour, or what I already said for store-bought. And then I added 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. You want to go ahead and put lard on this?
Sure.
Okay. Then we need 4 tablespoons of butter went into this, which was already melted, and then 1/2 cup of cold butter that was all cut up. And I stuck that inside the blender, the mixer, and mixed it all up. And then while it was mixing, I added in 10 tablespoons of ice water and 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. So this is what you're left with after it's done soaking. And we're just going to press that into our dish right here. And then this just sat at room temperature, guys. There's no chilling yet. We're going to go ahead and press it into the pie pan. And then it's going to go in the refrigerator for 2 hours. And then you can add in your apple pie filling. Or make your own apple pie filling to go inside. Doing good?
Uh-huh.
Good job, Bree. I will be starting my prep tomorrow. I'll work outside the home today. Yeah. That's cool, Diana. Good for you. We were working outside the farm today, so I'm kind of like zoning. My brain is like, it was really, really warm here. It's 40 degrees. All right, so you could totally try and roll this out. It's a little bit more crumbly than a typical crust. Now, you could add a little bit extra water if you wanted to. I think I'm just going to let Bree push this in. You want to push it in? Go for it. Make it nice and thin so it's a nice, good crust. And then we're going to take the top and we're going to...
This is really hard.
It's really hard. Should we add some water?
Sure.
All right. We can add some water. The mistake I made was I left it in this Bosch mixer and just counted on this lid, not letting it dry out, and it dried out a little bit. So if you're going to do this recipe, make sure you put it in a enclosed container with a lid. A nice tight fitting lid for its soaking period.
So do you want me to take this out?
Yep. I'll just add a little bit of water to it. If this will fall down. I guess it's kind of falling down. There you go. Be a nice little machine. All right, that is the one thing about soaked stuff is if you ever have it dry out on you like I just did, you just add it back to the mixing bowl, mix it around, add a little bit of water. All right. Goes.
What kind of ice cream are you making?
Oh, you want to go check on it? It's vanilla.
Sure.
You go check on the ice cream. I'm going to take you guys over here because otherwise it's just boring staring at the counter. All right, I'm just going to add a little bit of water, probably just like a tablespoon. Let's see.
It's pretty much done almost.
Is it? Okay.
You can come check on it if you want.
Okay. I'm going to break this up a little bit. Because I don't want to break my paddles. I've done that before and it's very, very sad. I think it'll be okay. Let's find out. Okay, Mr. Bosch, be nice. All right. Yep, tablespoon did it. All right, Bree. You want to grab the pie crust there and come on over and...
Sure.
Now it should be easier for you to do, honey.
You can go check on it.
Yeah, I'll go check on the ice cream. Almost done.
Oh, this is way much easier.
Yeah. It just needed a little bit of moisture. could also roll it out on the countertop in the sheets if that helps.
Good.
So something that I mentioned in my cookbook that I don't think I've ever talked about here is instead of flouring your kitchen counter, I just take coconut oil. Whoa, that's okay.
Water.
It's okay. Go get this. Go cart. Anyway, I just go ahead and I grease my countertop with oil, coconut oil. And I do this whenever I'm kneading dough or rolling something out that I don't want to stick to the counter. I just use coconut oil. Did you get it under control? Or are you going to flood, Ruth?
Not
Okay. All right. Let me see if I can roll some of this out for you. The big rolling pen is already outside the car. Remember I left it at Grandma's and then she...
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll use my little one. And I'll just give you sheets and you can put it inside the pan, okay?
Yeah.
You use the little side.
The little side.
The little side would work better. There you go. Okay. Put a little sheet over here for you. Good job. There you go.
Maybe I can make that pretty decoration on the side.
Ooh! You go for it. You know how I feel about that.
Uh-huh.
I gave up making pretty decorations on my pie crust a long time ago. Oh my gosh. So we got stuffing down. We got ice cream almost down. What else did I do? Oh, we're making the pie, I guess, huh? Pie crust. It's okay.
At least have plenty to
Yep.
make that decoration.
Okay, can I roll this one out for you?
Sure.
All right. There you go. It's looking good. All right. Here we go. Let's see here. But it can be cut into strips, guys, for the top, so you know. Should we do strips, Bree? What do you think?
Sure.
Oh boy, here comes the inspector. You know, I am, but I have sad news. William,
William.
I have sad news. William, I have sad news. The ice cream is not for tonight, honey. It's for Thanksgiving. But I love you very much. I know you see it, but we're not eating it
He
tonight.
wants to see it.
Oh, he wants to see it. Okay.
I don't
You
know.
keep making that pretty, Bree, and I'm gonna go over this way. All right. Oh, yeah, it's done. Woo. Okay, you side. Whoa! All right, Bree, you keep it going there. All right. Oh my God. Well, we're not gonna eat all of it. We're just gonna put it in this nice cold canister that Grandma gave us. So while Bree's making this pie crust pretty, I'm gonna go empty out the ice cream into the ice cream maker container.
That's really cold.
It is really cold. Okay, you know what? How are you gonna help me? You like a spoon or something? Ooh, this looks really good. Okay. We're not gonna lick it though. No licking. But I might share a little bite with you after we get done scraping it out. Oh, good. It's done. I think the cow would be happy if you lick off the beater. Oh man. That's good ice cream. Oh, God,
Sounds pretty good over here.
Oh, good. How's the pie crust coming, Bree?
Good. I think I need a little bit.
Whoa! Hang on, I got a little bit of runaway ice cream. I got a situation over here. Oh my gosh. Oh. Yep. I'm gonna let you lick this off. Just give me a minute, okay? I'm trying to make it so you don't get covered in ice cream. Okay. Right on you. Come over here. Come over here. You can sit right down here so people can see you lick it off. Come over here. Yeah, just sit like right there. You just sit and, ooh, gosh, this is gonna make a really big mess. Okay,
You
everybody.
should probably
Here, sit down, do it. Sit down,
sit down. Sit.
I'm probably gonna regret this, you guys, but whatever, you only live once. Here you go, enjoy it. Here, just take the whole thing. There.
Lick
Yeah.
it.
Just hang on to it. There you go. All right. Here, let's at least do this. Okay, there you go. You enjoy that now. All right, so Bree, as soon as you got that nice and pretty, we're going to move it to the white refrigerator.
Okay.
It's got to go in there for 2 hours. Whenever you get that done, then we're gonna cut the strips and stuff to the top. Okay.
Can I have a little bit of this stuff in here?
Yeah, of
Put
course.
aside because I need to have enough to do it.
Yeah. Go for it. Is it good, William?
I think he is. He's really gobbling it down.
Love you, baby man. Are you enjoying it? Is it good, Will?
No answer.
Yep.
That means it's good.
You want to try a bite?
Mm.
You guys should see the mess. Oh, Lord, help me. Or as William would say, Lord have mercy. Right, Will? Oh, my Lord. I'm just going to grab an extra rag while I'm over here.
Oh, jeez. He is. He even got it
Oh, he got it in his hair.
in his hair.
All right. That's all right. You know what? Maybe I'll just lick you off later. It's really okay. It's okay. It's Thanksgiving at Crystal's house. It's got to be a little bit wild. You're a lucky boy, Will. You get to lick that off. What you telling your siblings? I don't have anymore.
Yeah, they'd be pretty angry. For sure.
Alright. You about done with that?
Almost.
Good? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll move this to the sink. It's okay. You know what, buddy? It's in your hair. It's on your feet. Just enjoy it while you have it. You know what I mean? Because one day you will be 18 and you will not want to experience this again. So you just do it. You know what I mean? You just enjoy that right there. There are certain things you can only do when you're a little kid. And that's one of them right there. Because you're cute doing it. 40-year-old man is not cute doing that anymore. Almost got it, Bree?
Yeah, I think this is enough.
Okay. That's fine. Now just remember we're gonna roll out the other stuff. be flaky, like a regular pie crust. We're actually going to go ahead and refrigerate it for 2 hours. I don't think we're all still going to be here in 2 hours, if you know what I mean. So in 2 hours, we're going to dump our apple pie filling, my homemade canned apple pie filling, into the pie crust. And then cut the remaining dough up, which I'll show you. There's plenty left. Hang on 1 second, guys. That's put away. Awesome. Okay, so there's plenty of pie dough left, guys. Oh yeah, there you go. She's gonna make it pretty.
I forgot how to do it.
I'm so lucky to have Bree. Bree loves to make things beautiful. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the excess dough, which if I had to guess is about 1.5 cups, into this container with a nice fitting lid. It's okay. You know what? Do you still want it? Okay, you just build your little microbiome. It's just, you know, dirt off the floor. Okay, anyway, I'm going to put a tight fitting lid on this, leave it at room temperature, because it can just keep on soaking for another 2 hours until this is nice and chilled. And then we're going to go ahead and, like I said, dump the filling, roll this out, and cut little strips, put it over the top, and then bake it. All right, I'm going to clean this out. You let me know when you're all done with that funness, and we will help you get cleaned off with them. Okay? Oh my. Mm-hmm. Well, you know, it's okay.
We still have washers.
We have a shower. We have all sorts of things to help with that scenario.
Not in a shower.
You don't want to take a bath?
No.
Oh.
Well, I think you're going to have to, Will.
I don't know. We'll have to just wait and see. That sounds exciting. All right, y'all want to see what happened down here? I'll show you. Oh my, hang on. Oh. Oh.
Looks like he did a painting job.
I need that song. No, oh no, oh no. Oh no. Even on my cabinet right there. Oh my gosh. Oh, love you. Love you, William. All right. Bree is finishing up the crust here. It's looking very pretty. Ta-da. All right. To the refrigerator for 2 hours. Carl says you wear it well, William. It looks good on you. I should probably get that chunk out of your hair, though. Because I'm just guessing that that's probably not going to come out so good. Just, you know, it's okay. Just don't worry about it. It's right on the front of you. And we'll just, oh, okay. Right, you're done? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, oh, you got your hair there, too. Okay. Okay. Here, let's just, you know. There we go.
Don't do a shower.
Okay, I'll just spot clean you and we'll pretend like it didn't happen, okay? Don't tell any of the other girls that you got ice cream or there'll be a raid. I'll have a raid on my house. Okay.
You got messy.
It did get messy.
It got messy.
It got messy. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I don't lift it because I don't want to over and lift it off.
If you want, you can roll it out and start cutting it in strips.
Is that from the top?
Oh.
From the top.
Okay, I think we're done with the ice cream now, William. But thank you for offering there. Peacemaker's Farm says I let my husband do that, and he's 76. All right, you are good to go now, buddy. You're good. You are. That's amazing. Okay. Let's go. I'm trying to see. We're done with that. Let me mark it off. It's okay. It really is. It's all good. There. That one's done. If you oil the countertop, then time to let the dog in to help you.
That's how I do it. I was trying to figure out how I did it because I forgot.
Yep. We'll just roll them out and then you can cut it in strips with a knife. Okay, so let's talk mashed potatoes. All right, William, you've made your debut, buddy. Everybody loves you and thinks you're amazing.
I'll roll it out.
Okay. So for mashed potatoes, you could totally use rutabagas if you're low carb, okay? You just cook it the same way. So make your mashed potatoes like you normally would, which some people boil them, some people Instant Pot them. The point is make those mashed potatoes so they're mashable. And then we add 8 ounces of cream cheese, 8 ounces of sour cream, 1 whole stick of butter.
Where's the coconut oil, Mom?
What?
Where's the coconut oil? Or should I just do it right here?
You just do it right there. And this is for 5 pounds of potatoes. So if you're making half of that, you're gonna want 3 teaspoons of garlic powder. And that's it. So we just blend it all and mash it all together. And it turns out super creamy. It's like garlic creamy mashed potatoes. Oh, well your sister's gonna work on that. So that is how we make mashed potatoes. My mom is making those this year. So
Help you guys.
okay, so that sounds amazing. So let's go over and make soaked dinner rolls, shall we, guys?
Ooh.
We're gonna start the dough and then we're gonna walk through what that looks like for tomorrow or the next day for you guys. Okay, you want to help? Okay, so maybe what you should do is cut it into strips, Brie, and then.
Could I let you have?
Oh, he wants an apron, guys. Okay, hang on. Let's
That's gonna be cute.
apron William up. Okay, hang on. All right, so what I was saying is you could roll this out, cut it in strips, and put the strips in there.
Yeah.
I am gonna go see what I have for an apron for you, William.
Why don't I just get my old one?
Yeah, is yours the black one?
Yeah, black with pink. I don't think you'd like pink.
No,
with green.
So I'm gonna have to like sew William his own apron. I just haven't gotten that far yet. Here, turn around, baby. So you get to wear this one. I'll have to sew you a man apron. There you go. Only strong men can wear pink, William. I think you pull it off well. Good? Okay, so you and Sissy work on, yep. You and Sissy work on rolling this out and cutting it into strips. Okay, I'm gonna go over here and start the soaked dinner rolls. Typically, you guys, I would just make sourdough dinner rolls, but I want to share my soaked dinner roll recipe for those of you who are making dinner rolls for your family for Thanksgiving, and you're too intimidated with regular sourdough. I'm going to plug it. Here's my book. It is $32. If you're interested, you can email me at abhomestead22@gmail.com. I'll put my email down below. This is a awesome recipe book. I just came out with it. And in here, we're going to flip over to the soaked dinner roll recipe. But there's also like soaked sandwich bread, all sorts of things. And what I mean by soaked is, I mean, it's healthy for you, just like sourdough, but it's not intimidating like sourdough. It's just wheat flour, and then you have apple cider vinegar and water and a few other ingredients. So it's totally doable, and it's not hard at all. So we're going to make the soaked dinner roll / bun recipe from page 71 out of my cookbook. And like I said, this is still available. I ordered extras, so if you're interested, you can email me. But this has all of the recipes up here on the channel, plus even more. So we're going to go ahead and make the soaked dinner roll recipe. I'm going to go grab my flour, and I'll be right back. Okay, you guys, so for the soaked dinner roll recipe, if you're using store-bought flour, you need to use 4 3/4 cup of a bread flour. I'm going to be using my fresh ground flour tonight, so that amount's going to be a little bit different. So let's see. Is he being a big help, Sissy?
Yeah, he's gonna help me cut it.
Whoa. I'm looking for a measuring cup. That would be nice. Don't really want to eyeball it. The way she does the dishwasher, it's like everything's just buried in there. Okay, so since I am doing fresh ground flour, I'm going to need 4 cups plus 1 tablespoon. This is hard wheat that I'm using. But like I said, if you're going to go to the store and buy flour, you need 4 3/4 cup. Okay?
We're gonna eat it for Thanksgiving. Okay? Yeah,
You're going to eat it, yeah.
Don't worry, it's not gonna go anywhere.
All right, so that's 4 cups of home ground flour, fresh ground hard wheat flour, and then 1 tablespoon more. Like I said, store-bought flour, you're looking for 4 3/4 cup of a bread type flour. Okay, so the next ingredient that I have to use, because I'm using fresh ground flour, is vital wheat gluten. This helps to boost the gluten level inside my flour so that these get nice and fluffy. If you're using store-bought flour, you do not need this next ingredient. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of vital wheat gluten. Okay, I'm going to get the lid for my mixer. Good job, Bree. That looks great. Okay. So to this, I'm going to add 1 1/4 cup of filtered water. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my mixer. That's what's really important actually with the soaked recipes, is that you have your mixer on as you're adding the water, because you want the water and the apple cider vinegar to incorporate. You're hungry? Should we take a break and get you your dinner? Okay. Hang on, guys. Change of subjects. Hang on. Go tell Sissy it's time to set the table.
You go tell Sissy.
So I made their dinner already, guys. I'm going to show you what I made.
Ice cream?
No.
It's not ice cream. Go get your sissies. Go get Nevaeh and tell hey, tell Nevaeh it's time to set the table.
What's in it?
I'll show you. Go get your sissy. All right. We'll get back to our soaked rolls, I promise, guys. This is what's for dinner tonight. For the kids, anyway. I'm gonna add down. This is also inside the recipe book. This is my taco sourdough skillet. So it's a sourdough bread on the top, which is just made with your sourdough starter from your refrigerator. And eggs and a couple of other ingredients. And then down below is a mixture of like taco seasoning and ground beef, beans, all sorts of things like that. So it's super good. It's multi-layered. I'm going to cut it open and show you guys what it looks like. I'm going to serve up these hungry kids so we can keep on cooking.
Hello, Grace.
We're watching out.
What's going on?
She said they're watching the car. When the car's going off something or whatever.
Okay, yep. We're showing them what I made for you. We need 1 more of these fancy little bowls, okay?
Ooh, that looks good.
Alright.
These are yummy.
Sourdough skillet.
Oh, I remember this. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It smells so good. I don't know if you guys can see that or not, but it's like a sourdough bread and then taco. So, can you get everybody a fork and stuff? Thank you, Nivea. There it is. Look at that delicious piece. Oh my goodness. Like I said, this recipe inside the cookbook. Yeah, Sugar Toots.
I got dizzy.
You got dizzy. Are you getting hungry? Oh, the movie, yeah. Okay, there's Nivea. William, are you hungry?
Yeah, I think he is really hungry.
Yeah.
Okay. There's William's piece. Ready, buddy? There you go. Blow on it. It's hot.
Oh, that's not level.
All right, guys. We're going to go back on over and finish our soaked dinner rolls here.
Bye.
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 All right. We're back. Okay, so just to recap. Sorry about the interruption. If you're buying store-bought flour, 4 3/4 cup of a bread type flour. If you're using fresh ground flour at home, you're going to want hard wheat flour in the amount of 4 cups and 1 tablespoon, plus 1 tablespoon of vital wheat gluten. Okay, so to this, we're going to add 1 1/4 cup of filtered water. I'm going to go grab the filtered water. Hang on a minute. Yep, Bree's working on the pie top.
Get it level.
Okay, so as I said before, something that's very, very crucial with these soaked recipes is to add the liquid as your mixer is. So this is 1 cup. Okay, so I'm going to go get 1/4 more of a cup of filtered water. Okay, and then to this 1/4 cup of filtered water, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of raw apple cider vinegar. Whoops. Hang on a second, guys. I gotta go grab it. The kitchen is hopping over here.
This will work.
Yes, it will. Okay, so here's your raw apple cider vinegar, just in case you've never heard of it before. This is what we need. We're going to add 1 tablespoon to that extra 1/4 cup of filtered water. Okay, so here I have my apple cider vinegar mixture. I'm going to show you guys what that looks like, okay? So it's like a crumble. See how it's not like totally soaked? Shh, guys. Notice how it's not totally soaked, but it's not dry either. It's in the middle. It's like a crumble. Okay, so I'm going to go get a container, because like I said, this is not airtight enough for these soaked recipes. They will dry out. Hey, Bethany. Bethany, can you try this pie?
Why was my hold on. And what time is it now?
Okay, so I'm just going to use it for the lid here. And we're going to move this dough mixture into it. Woo! I'm going to go to my house apparently at the same time. Okay. So this is going to sit in an airtight container just out on the countertop for 12 hours. So tomorrow night at 6 o'clock, this will be, tomorrow morning at 6 o'clock,
Excuse me.
this will be done.
I'm going to get another pan, or pie pan, to see how long I need to cut it. And how much I need to cut.
Okay, so you guys can see how dry that is. It's damp, but not soaked. I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on. Okay, this this is gonna sit at room temperature on my counter, like I said, till tomorrow morning at 6, so 12 hours. If it sits longer, it's not a big deal. Okay, so then after 12 hours, I'm gonna walk you through what the next step is gonna be. So after 12 hours, we are going to, somebody wants ho-ho.
Mom, let's give me a cup.
Sure. They're falling, hang on a second. Trying to fix my stand. There we go. Here you go. All right, so after 12 hours, you're gonna take that mixture. Okay, go on, go eat your dinner.
It's really not, Mom, thanks for the food.
You're welcome, baby.
It tastes really good.
Oh, good. Okay, so after 12 hours, you're going, guys, come on. Thank you. After 12 hours, we're gonna dump this back into the mixer. And I'm going to go ahead and, in a separate saucepan, I'm gonna warm another 1/4 cup of water. That's 1/4 cup, sorry, a 1/3 cup of water, my bad. 1/3 of a cup of water. Warm it up to 110 degrees-ish, okay? We're gonna put, where is it at? Hang on. 2 tablespoons of honey in there, melt it and kind of stir it. And then we're gonna remove it from heat and add 1 tablespoon of dry active yeast. This is all tomorrow after the 12-hour soak, okay? Then you're going to, with your dough inside your mixer, you're gonna add that mixture and start kneading it around, and then add 1 teaspoon of baking soda and 2 tablespoons of butter that are melted. And you're just going to knead that for 5 minutes or 8 minutes by hand. Then you're gonna move the dough to a bowl that's been lightly coated in olive oil and let rise for 1 hour. And then you're gonna take that mixture and you're gonna break it into little balls of your choice. You could do big balls and have buns, or smaller balls and have rolls. And you're going to put it in a nice greased pan, a pan that's been greased with lard or coconut oil or butter. And then you're going to bake them at 350 degrees for 25 minutes. That is how you make soaked dinner rolls. So I can mark that one off the list. Let's go see how Bree's doing over here.
Good.
You doing good?
I'm flattening this out.
I got it myself.
Oh. And take it all up into one piece, you think? Okay.
Hopefully.
Well, that will be interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bethany, you should go eat now.
Yeah, go eat your food, honey.
Then you guys can go back to watching a movie.
Come back.
Okay. Excuse me?
I don't want another tooth falling.
I don't want another tooth falling either. Okay, so Bree is making... Yeah, don't do that. Bree is cutting the top pieces for the apple pie.
Yeah.
I'm going to wash up my mixer because I'm going to need it again while you guys are watching her.
Bethany, stop it. Eat. So don't want to watch you eat it.
Okay.
Bethany.
Got fun. No, I will clean up.
I think this is getting close to being done.
Okay, did you show it to him? So our plan is to chill it like that so you can just drop it onto the pie. We'll see how that works. Okay, I just gotta wash out my mixer bowl here. Hang on, guys.
What is that made of? Sourdough.
Soaked. It's actually soaked, Bree. It's a soaked pie crust recipe.
This smells like sourdough, huh?
You probably smell that apple cider vinegar. So I said it in some of my other videos, you guys, but the soaked recipes taste just like regular bread. So if you've got a family that's really picky and they don't like the taste of sourdough, my soaked recipes are what you're going to want to try on your family. So inside my cookbook there is a soaked pizza crust recipe, soaked English muffins, soaked sandwich bread, soaked pancakes. Everything bread is inside that cookbook.
We're gonna have extra, Mom.
That's okay, baby. We can always freeze it.
Yeah.
Do you need a drink?
Yeah, I think
Okay, I'll get you a drink. Is it a little spicy? Can I make it too spicy?
so.
Okay.
I think you just need. I'm not first, of course.
It might be just hot.
I'm gonna grab a drink here, guys. Here you go.
So I should put this in the glass container.
Where did the plastic? Oh, you already have it. Don't you? Put it inside your container. Then. Actually, that's completely extra. Listen, that's enough to do with their pie. So I would stick that in a plastic freezer bag and put it in the freezer because it'll freeze. Okay, we're ready to roll to the next thing. What's up? You need a drink? There you are, sugar toots. All right. I'm gonna check comments and we're gonna go to the next thing. Okay, we're good to go.
Mom,
What, honey?
can I have a piece?
I can cut it for her.
Yeah, you can have another piece. I gotta wash this skillet here. We're gonna make our homemade green bean casserole, guys. Give me a second. That's what's next on the list.
Do we need this?
Nope. Thanks for asking.
Yep.
You're such a good helper.
Ooh.
Alright, that's done. And the skillet.
I'm having another piece.
You guys can have more pieces, yeah.
Just dish them up.
I'm glad it's really good. That's great.
Icy.
Mom, I can put the lid on this.
I would put a lid on it so it doesn't dry out. Alright, let's move you guys over here. We're on to the green bean casserole. I'm going to clear some stuff off the counter here that we don't need anymore. Okay.
Oh, that's how it's nice yet.
Did it pass?
Okay, so like I said, if I still have energy after green casserole, we're going to get to some grain-free biscuits and possibly some pumpkin pie bars. So just keep hanging out as long as you can. I won't be offended if you have to jump off. I totally get it. It's life. Okay. This recipe for green bean casserole, of course, is in this book. So I'm going to make sure I follow my recipe because sometimes I don't. So green bean casserole is under soups and sides. Page 140. All right. So I'm going to go to the freezer and grab the green beans really quick. We're going to get going. Whoops, excuse me. Yourself a piece of dinner, Bree?
Yep.
Okay.
Mom,
Yeah, babe.
you do know that the butter is really good.
The bottom's really good?
No, the bread.
Oh, the bread, good.
That's
This
okay.
is real
Alright.
good.
Okay, so I got frozen green beans. You could use canned as well. This is 2 pounds of green beans into I forget how many quarts this is. 2.5 quart baking dish. All right, so all we gotta do is make the sauce. My mom still buys the crunchy onions that go on top. There's really no comparison to natural fried crunchy onions because they're all battered anyway. So I don't go through the pain of making those. I just make the base for her. She sprinkles the junk on top and we scrape the junk off and eat the nourishing stuff that's down below. Okay, so in this pan over here, we're going to go ahead and melt 4 tablespoons of butter. There's about one sitting right here. We'll just grab that. Okay. I'm going to turn my cast iron over medium heat because remember, we don't go any higher than medium with cast iron unless you like reseasoning your pans once a week. All right. So medium heat, we're going to melt 4 tablespoons of butter. I'm going to go grab a yellow onion. Doing good. All right. I've got 1 gigantic onion. I'm probably just going to use half of this.
This is deadly. You're dead.
Don't forget to save the ends of your onions and all of your skins to make bone broth or chicken broth, meat broth. I usually just have like a freezer bag going inside my freezer. And when it gets full, I add it to my stock pot when I'm making broth. And then you just strain everything off and the liquid you keep for broth, and all of this can go into the compost pile or in our case out to the chickens. Okay, so I've got the equivalent of 1 medium onion. These are gigantic onions from Azure Standard. And I'm just going to try and chop this up as small as I possibly can. My husband is not an onion person, so these need to be chopped nice and fine, so he wants to eat this side dish. Okay. And then essentially we're going to make a homemade cream of mushroom soup. I wish I could have had all of the cookbooks to you guys by Thanksgiving because that would have been handy, but that's all right. I'm sharing my recipes anyway, right? All right, so we're just going to saute this onion into the butter. I'm going to go get some garlic and I'll be right back, you guys. Whoops. Bring that off so you guys can see. Okay, so we need 2 cloves of garlic. And when I say cloves, it's about the size of your thumbnail, remember, okay? And just in case you've never peeled an actual garlic, this hard end is where we're going to go ahead and cut this off. You want to make sure you're using fresh garlic when you cook. Don't get the stuff at the store that's already pre-chopped. There's lots of preservatives in that. Okay, so I went ahead and cut the hard tip off, and it's already peeling on its own. But if it hadn't peeled, I would just take my knife and lay it on its side and just use my palm to kind of smush it. And off would come the wrapper, okay? The peeling. This one's peeling easy as well. That's kind of nice. You could also get a fancy garlic roller if you'd like. I don't have one of those, but I've heard they're nice. All right, that's starting to saute. I'm going to grab some mushrooms here. We need 8 ounces of mushrooms. These are those baby portobellas, and once again, I'm going to chop these kind of small because we like the flavor of mushrooms, but maybe not necessarily big chunks of mushrooms. And these have obviously already been pre-washed, guys. You would want to wash them before you stick them into your food. I buy mine from Azure Standard. Their produce is nice and fresh. And usually lasts all month till the next delivery, depending on what you order. Okay. I'm just chopping these up stems and all, because it doesn't matter much. And in fact, I know they put stems in the ones in your cream of mushroom that you buy into the store. So I just chop it up nice and fine so it's not going to bother anybody. It's all getting sauteed anyway. How you guys doing? Okay, we're good. Everybody's quiet on the commenting tonight. You guys must just be like watching while you're cooking or something. It's the cooking extravaganza. We've already been on for an hour and a half. Like I said, I don't know how long it's going to take to make all this, but I got to make it anyway, so y'all can stay as long as you like. Thanksgiving is always a lot of cooking, but I really enjoy cooking. It's my passion to like cook for people and then sit back and watch them eat it and enjoy my food. And that's one really exciting thing about this cookbook is like being able to get my recipes out there so you guys can cook for your families and enjoy my recipes like all over the United States, if not the world. So I think that's just really cool. How you doing, Grace?
How many people are?
We're bouncing between 7 and 10 people.
Are you guys eating, Grace? Yeah. You should go in that building this morning, waiting for you. They want you to read Tom's train.
And these are organic mushrooms. I buy them from Azure Standard. Nobody local sells organic mushrooms. So we're just sauteing all of this, and then I'm going to tell you guys how to do it using a thickener. But this year I'm not going to use a thickener because, well, cavities, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a way around using a thickener to make a cream of mushroom soup. And next will be grain-free biscuits. That's what's next on the list. And then, like I said, if I have energy, we'll make pumpkin pie bars last. Those are also grain-free and sugar-free pumpkin pie bars. And I'm pretty sure they're gaps, guys. They're only sweetened with honey, so... There we go. Mushrooms are gone. Those 8 ounces of mushrooms. We're just going to saute this. I'm actually going to turn to another page inside my cookbook that has the cream of mushroom recipe. It's already going on. So, if I was going to use a thickener, I would go ahead and I would add, once it's soft, I would add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch to it. But we're going to skip that tonight. Like I said, I'm going to thicken it up using something else so that this is a nice GAPS approved / cavity healing approved diet. Okay. I'm going to grab some milk. I'll be right back. I've got to go to the other refrigerator here. Is it good, Bree?
Yeah.
You enjoying your dinner?
No, Mom, it's time to do make it more.
Make it more? You like that recipe a lot? That's sweet. Bethany wants me to make the taco sourdough skillet more often. It's so sweet. All right. So my secret thickener is going to be, well, in this case, Philadelphia cream cheese. I ran out of my organic cream cheese, and the store was out of organic, so we went with the next best, which is full-fat Philadelphia cream cheese. So that's what I'm going to use to thicken this. Usually I try to buy Nancy's organic cream cheese from Azure, but I am completely out. Our Azure order is coming next week. So I'm doing the best that I can with what I got. I have a feeling he's going to say, you know what?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
You can do it. Thank you. All right, so the onion is almost translucent. That's what we want. And like I said, if you are not opposed to cornstarch, as soon as this onion is translucent, I would add 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. If crunchy onions don't bother you, you sure could stop sauteing them before they're soft, but if you've been watching me for any amount of time, you know my husband despises crunchy onions, so I must saute until they are nice and soft. I'm going to find my whisk while we're waiting. There it is. Okay, we're almost there. And then we're going to add our milk, okay? And this is how you would make a cream of mushroom soup as well. All right, I'm going to call the onions good enough. And I'm going to add 1.5 cups of milk. So like I said, if you're going to do cornstarch, I would add that and I'd stir it around right now. And then I would add the 1.5 cups of milk. This is whole raw milk. You would want to use whole milk if you don't have access to raw. Because raw really doesn't matter because we're cooking it anyway. Okay. It's still over medium heat. Okay, so now we're going to take our cream cheese here. And I'm just going to kind of put it into little cubes. I'm going to start with about 1/2 of the block and see how it goes here. We want it thick and creamy, so. We're going to add 1.5 teaspoons of salt to the mixture there. Now that all of our mushrooms are all cooked up already. 1.5 teaspoons of healthy salt. You want colored salt? That's the healthy stuff, okay? All right, and then this is going to start melting eventually. And this cream cheese is softened. I should mention that, okay? So we're just going to kind of whisk it to break up the cream cheese. You would also be whisking it if you were using cornstarch. All right. How's it going? You doing okay? No, good. How much of that casserole's left over there. Not very much, huh? All right, I'm going to start adding the other half of this block, okay?
More like 1/3 of it.
A third of it? Hey, look at you and your math. I don't add all of the cream cheese all at once because then you end up with clumps. If you don't want to use the full 8 ounces of cream cheese, you could use straight cream instead of whole milk. That would be an option. All of my health went away just like that. She's out of here. All right, I'm going to go throw this stuff away. I'll be right back. Okay, and it's starting to warm and soften. Like I said, this cream cheese has been sitting out, so it's already been softened. Starting to get thicker, guys. All right, I'm going to let that warm up a little bit more. I'm going to go show you guys how much is left over from the dinner here. This is a gigantic 14-inch skillet with a fly on it, apparently. And they just ate all of that. It's gone. All right. We're getting thicky. We're getting thicky and bubbly over here. I think it needs just a little bit more cream cheese, so I'm going to get out a second stick. This would work, but I actually want it to like stick to the green beans. So we'll open up the second box. It's thickening up though. It might be okay. Nah, a little bit more. Whoa. All right, so this is probably just like a quarter of the next block. And I'm pretty sure that's all we're gonna need because it's getting nice and thick without even the addition of this. There. All right. I'm just gonna whisk this in. I don't know if you guys can see how thick that is on camera or not, but it is nice and thick. You could totally pull off a cream of mushroom soup that you would just eat like a soup. Thick and creamy and warm. This is going to get poured over the, whoopsie, the green beans here in just a second. There's lots of flavor in this because you're basically simmering your, you're simmering all of the mushrooms and the onions and the garlic all inside of it. You can take the same recipe and put it to your refrigerator. I've never froze it before because it does have cream cheese in it, and cream cheese does not freeze very well. The consistency kind of goes off. Same thing with sour cream. It would still taste good, but definitely not the same consistency. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and pour it over the green beans. Let's see, how do I want to do this so it's not going to be a big mess? I don't know. You guys aren't going to be able to see it, sorry. Okay. Okay, and then this has to bake, obviously because my green beans are still frozen. So I'm just going to mix it, and then we actually bake it the day of. So it's just going to go into the refrigerator. But you guys can see how nice and thick that turned out. Okay, no thickener at all, just cream cheese. I'm going to get a lid. It's just going gonna go inside the refrigerator until Thursday. On Thursday, I'll bring it out. I'll bake it at 350 degrees for 30 minutes, and it'll be done. If you want to add the crunchy onions on top, go ahead. I'm gonna go move this to refrigerator. We'll be right back. Okay guys, next on the list is grain-free biscuits. Here we go. Let's just keep on going. We're on a roll now. Hang on one second. I'm just cleaning up behind you here. I don't think I need any of this stuff for biscuits. Okay, I'm going to spin you guys around and we're going to make grain-free biscuits. All right, we're back at the mixer. It's nice and washed. We're going to go on to the next recipe. Okay, so the next recipe is the grain-free biscuits. This is not inside my cookbook. I do not own this recipe. Years and years ago, I got a printout called Coconut Flour Recipes from a friend. It's got yellow birthday cake, chocolate cake, all made out of coconut flour. And it has these drop biscuits that we're going to make. I've also made the recipe for cheese biscuits, which I usually put like bacon in. They're super good. Those are grain-free as well. So drop biscuits, here we go. I got to go grab some butter. I'll be right back, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and get back on my clean paddle attachments for my Bosch. There it goes. 1/4 cup of butter. It's got to be at least softened, guys. You could melt it if you'd like. I'm going to move my... That's another thing I love about my cookbook, is I totally spilled stuff on this and it just wipes off. So these pages are super thick, wipeable pages. Awesome. Like I said, if you're interested in the cookbook, email me at abhomestead22@gmail.com and I'll put my email down below after the live, okay? They are $32 a book and that's including shipping. Covers everything from sprouted recipes, sourdough recipes, soaked recipes, bread recipes, grain-free, gaps, all the recipes, over 230 recipes, okay? All right. Let's do it. So we have 1/4 cup of butter in here. I'm going to grab some eggs. I'm actually going to have to take the eggs out of my water glassing solution, so I'm going to have to rinse them. So just give me 1 minute. The chickens have slowed down, so now I'm using eggs from the spring that I preserved through water glassing, which is basically a fancy word for storing eggs at room temperature that are submerged in a lime solution. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and crack these. The consistency of the yolks runnier. Obviously, these are almost a year-old eggs, but they still use them for scrambled eggs or baking or anything you want to use them for. And it makes it so that right now all of my chickens are in a molt, and I only get like 1 egg a day. My family still has eggs. Okay, so 4 eggs, 1/4 cup of butter, 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay. 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, which actually I'm not going to add the onion powder, and I'm not, it also calls for, okay, just onion powder. I'm not going to add onion powder because I want to be able to take these and put my homemade cranberry sauce on them, and if it tastes like onions, I'm not going to want that. So I'm going to skip the onion powder. We've got coconut flour. Let me go get it. Hang on one second. Okay, 1/3 of a cup of coconut flour. I buy my coconut flour from Azure Standard. So if you're not going to be using Azure Standard brand coconut flour, you might have to adjust this up or down. But 1/3 of a cup. And we need 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. These come together pretty quick. 1/4 teaspoon baking powder. So I guess they're not gaps because you got baking powder in there. And then that's it. So we're just going to mix this. They are grain free though. Not going to make very many biscuits, but I think I'm probably going to be the only person eating these anyway, so I'm just going to add like another 1/4 cup of flour. Coconut flour. All right. Alrighty, let me get out the next thing here. I'm going to go ahead and preheat my oven to 400 degrees. Okay, I'm going to back you guys up so I can show you how I do this. There's a nice dirty kitchen. Keeping it real, guys. Keeping it real. All right. Let me get a baking sheet. Baking sheet it is. Gonna apply some lard. You could also use coconut oil, tallow, butter, coconut oil, any healthy fat. Okay. And then the awesome part of this is taking a scoop of your choice of size. This is just the easiest way to get this out because it's not necessarily something you're going to be able to like handle with your hands. And like I said, this isn't going to make very much, and I did that intentionally because I'm going to be the only person eating these. Everybody else is going to be eating the soaked dinner rolls and all of that stuff. So anyway, I just fill the scoop and then I just plop them down. You can use your scoop if you want. This is about a 1-inch one. Just makes nice like little mini muffins, mini biscuits. It's a great size to use for fat bombs. See how many mini biscuits I can get, huh? Fold it all on in there. Looks like about 8 little drop biscuits. This really doesn't count as a drop biscuit. It's just a tiny one. So I preheated my oven, like I said, to 400 degrees. And these are going to bake at 400 degrees for around 12 to 15 minutes, depending on your oven. They'll start to turn golden brown on the outside. And that's how you know they're done. They're still going to be soft to the touch, even though they're turning brown. So you'll let them completely cool before you remove them from the baking sheet. And that is a grain-free biscuit. Okay, one more recipe, guys. I have Pumpkin pie bars coming your way. I'm gonna have to wash this bowl here first, and then we're gonna get started. This is also a grain-free, sugar-free recipe. Basically, all of the recipes in my cookbook are sugar-free. It's just sweetened with honey. No white sugar, no white flour, no white salt. Okay. So I'm going to wash out the bowl and we're going to get started on that last recipe, guys. If you caught the beginning of this video, I did talk about how to make homemade stuffing and the fact that there are grain-free recipes for bread out there, and I've used them before to make homemade stuffing. So it's totally doable. Okay. We're gonna get going on the pumpkin pie bars. Okay. My mom said don't bring pumpkin pie bars because we only need one dessert. But we're actually going to be going over like 3 hours earlier now, and I just feel like I should take more food. So, who doesn't like more food, right? Okay, so let me go grab the rest of the ingredients. Okay, so the first ingredient is 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin. This is going to make a small, like, 9 pan. I'm not going to take a huge pan of these just because my mom has to bring them, so I don't want to show up with a huge pan full of pumpkin bars. 1 15-ounce can of pumpkin. Check. Okay, next ingredient is coconut flour. Okay, coconut flour is 3/4 cup. Once again, I'm using Azure Standards brand. Okay. Next ingredient is 3/4 cup of honey. I'm probably going to knock this down to between 3/4 and a half, to be honest. Because they're probably going to put sugary ice cream on it anyway with all that honey that we made earlier. So that is 1/3 cup of honey, but I reduced it by a little bit. Okay. Next, 2 eggs. I gotta go wash 2 more eggs. Actually, wait, I think I have 2 fresh eggs from today. Hang on. Find out. I've got 2 fresh eggs from today. Hang on a second. There's 1. 2. All right, I'm just gonna pulse my mixer a little bit here. Okay, and in goes the rest of the seasonings. So we need cinnamon, which is up here. We need 1 1/2 teaspoons. Is this a teaspoon? No. 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon. 3/4 of a teaspoon of ginger. Let's see if I actually filled up my container for ginger. Ginger. Oh, I did. That's awesome. All right, 3/4 of a teaspoon of ginger. For those of you who don't know me in person, I am horrible about filling up my individual sizes of spices. I always forget. Okay, cloves, we need 1/4 of a teaspoon. Okay, baking soda, 3/4 of a teaspoon. So these are gaps, guys. 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking soda. Okay, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. If I can, there it is. Healthy salt, colored salt, pink Himalayan salt, real salt, Celtic sea salt, just not white table salt. Okay, so down here on the counter, I have a small, I think this is like a 7 by 11 or something. Look, 7 by 11. This is the smallest baking dish we own because I have a big family. So we don't get away with the little 8 by 8 pans any longer. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and grease this. This is lard, but you sure could use coconut oil, tallow, butter, goose fat, duck fat, all the healthy fats. We're just going to grease it. There we go. Delicious pumpkin bars, guys. Grain-free. Thanksgiving can be healthy. It's just you have to know how to do it. These smell amazing. Okay. So these bars will be topped with a homemade cream cheese frosting, which I can read you guys the ingredients to in just a minute. So I'm just pressing them in to the baking pan. They'd probably be a little bit thicker if it was in a 9 by 9, but not by much. Or 8 by 8, whatever. There we go. Ooh, I lost some pumpkin on the counter. Good thing my counter's clean. All right. There we go. I'm just trying to make this relatively flat because it's not going to rise that much, but it is going to keep the form of whatever it is inside this pan right now. So try and smush it down. Okay, so this is going to go into the oven, and this is going to bake at 350 degrees for 45 minutes. So this is going to have to wait for the grain-free biscuits to bake. So this is just going to get set aside. I'm going to read you guys the recipe that goes on the top for the cream cheese frosting. It's inside my cookbook. Imagine that. All right. If anybody has any questions, go ahead and start typing them out. Ooh, out into the comments. Hang on, guys. I'm trying to get my phone to grab here. Hang on. There. Okay. Is it going to stay? Nope. Hang on. Okay, so inside my cookbook, once again, we're gonna look at cream cheese frosting. I'm pretty sure it's under, I think I put it under with the cinnamon rolls, but we'll look it up. I'm going to go to cinnamon rolls first, which is page 55. And it'll say cream cheese frostings on page 154. So I'm going to bake that and I'm going to let it completely cool. And I'm going to make this frosting probably tomorrow. And into the cream cheese frosting is 16 ounces of cream cheese. Been softened. And I would put it back inside my mixer. Add 1 cup of softened butter, 3/4 of a cup of honey, and 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. And that makes about 3 cups, which you might want to reduce that by half for this size pan, unless you like lots of frosting, which I kind of do. So I might leave it the same. We're just going to whip that up, spread it across, and then store the pan of pumpkin pie bars inside the refrigerator. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so we discussed everything I think that I had on my list. Let me go get my list. Okay, guys, so we discussed the stuffing. We got that started. We talked about how I bake my turkey. We made a soaked pie crust and gave you all the ingredients on how to do it for yourself. We started soaked dinner rolls, and I gave you all of the ingredients on how to finish that. The next day, we made green bean casserole, put it inside the refrigerator. And we talked about the loaded mashed potatoes recipe. We made grain-free biscuits, and we made pumpkin pie bars. That's the end of my list, you guys. All right. You guys have any questions or anything we should talk about before I go? Because I haven't eaten dinner yet, and I don't even know what time, 7 o'clock. As far as the apple pie goes, that's happening here probably in the next hour. I'm just going to dump my homemade apple pie filling, which I do have inside this cookbook, guys. Once again, okay? It has no sugar in it and no cornstarch. It's, no Sure gel. It's cornstarch. I can my stuff with cornstarch. Never dyed. It's perfectly fine. But that recipe is in here as well. It's only sweetened with honey, no sugar. So as soon as that pie crust comes out, I'm going to dump the pie filling into it. And Brie will put her nice topping and then bake that apple pie. And that'll be ready to go for Thursday as well. So I hope you guys have a blessed Thanksgiving. Remember, it's very, very important to remember that if you're going to other people's houses that are preparing food that's maybe not to your standards, to be loving and accepting and enjoy the food, because all of us eat out occasionally and one meal's not going to kill you. Have understanding and love for one another, because that goes a lot farther than not having any tolerance for other people's food choices. So consider it all a blessing that we all get to gather around the table with each other and get to share food and share love with one another. And if you're lucky enough to have somebody, hey, you're very lucky on this Thanksgiving. So I hope you guys have a blessed Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys next week. I will do a pre-scheduled event for the next week's cooking classes. Yeah, bring raw apple cider vinegar to take just in case. And then also afterwards, if you eat kind of not so well on Thanksgiving, you can also take a couple of capsules of activated charcoal, and that will absorb a lot of the junk that you just got done eating you don't feel so good with. But anyway, I will see you guys next week. I will make up a pre-scheduled event with the recipe and everything in it. And I'll see you guys next Tuesday at 5:15. You guys take care. Thanks for joining me.